SPMP サイドストーリーくんねちぷ。
Previous overview. On his way back from HankenaiKotan, Yukkekema was reunited by chance with Tokapcup's mother. Yukkekema was confused by the words her mother had told her, and stared at her mother's back in a daze. What's going on? What does it mean to listen to her grandmother's story? Also, I don't know how to interpret the phrase "please take care of Tokapcup." I just understand that it's an unusual situation, so let's hurry back to Porokotan first. Thinking of this, he turned in the direction of Palakotan and trotted towards Palakotan at a trot. However, just as he was about to arrive at Palakotan, he saw the man he least wanted to meet, and he hurriedly hid himself. It was that smirking-faced Wajan. The man was standing and talking with several men, occasionally pointing somewhere. He didn't know what they were talking about, but it was enough to raise his alarm. Yukkekema walked away slowly and quietly so as not to be noticed by them, and when he looked at Kotan from a short distance, he noticed that there were few people, so he decided to wait for the night. He said, "What happened after that was as I said earlier," and then he asked my grandmother about her parents and what was going on. The grandmother then told him that she had been asked by her daughter to protect her two children, and that Yukkekema's parents had gone to Odanupukotan for the matter, and that she had apparently been caught up in a dispute between Wajan and Wajan. Next, Yukkekema asked for directions to Odanupukotan, and my grandmother showed him a different route by the sea than the one we took. Finally, he told us that my mother had told him, "Please take care of Tokapcup," and when he asked my grandmother what she meant, she thought for a moment and then began to tell him in detail, but I didn't understand what it was. The topic of the conversation was about the color of the sky that only my mother and sister could see. And after all, it was Susa's coming to this place that triggered it. The Wajan are looking for someone who is called a priestess, and there is a person called a priestess in their country, and it seems that a priestess is indispensable for ruling the country. Susa, who learned about the existence of a person who could understand the color of the sky, visited this place and became interested in us while researching various things. But what kind of being is a priestess? That and Susa also thinks that his relationship with Yaso is important, and he seems to think that in order to rule this land, he needs to solve the problem between the priestess and Yaso. However, As for the priestess, Wajan did not yet know about her two daughters, so the mother of the two daughters said, I want you to protect my two daughters from getting involved, and my grandmother said that the mother of her two daughters entrusted me with it. And my mother had asked Yukkekema's parents to prepare for HankenaiKotan, and when his parents were not around, she would ask my grandmother to take care of Yukkekema and to tell Yukkekema where his parents were going. Finally, my grandmother told him that she thought that the please that my mother had said to Yukkekema was because she wanted you to protect Tokapcup. When he heard my grandmother's story, his expression changed from anxious to nervous, and I could feel his obvious joy in me. Grandma seemed to sense his emotions and told him to stay here today and rest his body. Maybe if Grandma hadn't said so, he would have left right away. Yukkekema stayed in my sister's room that day, and the next morning they all ate together, and after a little conversation between the three of them, he left for HankenaiKotan. Today's story ends. The story is updated every Saturday. Please look forward to. If you like, please subscribe to the channel. See you again.